Okay.
Hello. Welcome to uh Collection of Queens, the podcast
Yay, we are here.
where we talk
Finally, we
about
made it.
whatever we want.
So today we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about our personal religions and philosophies, but we're going to start off with the movie selections that we had for this podcast. Our
Yes.
first movie review and selection. So, can you talk a little bit about Lucy? That's what I recommended for Eli to watch, and it was one of those movies that sort of changed my perspective. So, I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, also just for any first time listeners, every week we tell each other to watch a movie that the other person has never seen that is like related to the topic of our discussion. This week's discussion is spirituality and personal religion. So, yeah, Lucy was really interesting. I'd seen some really, I'm gonna be real, I've seen some really negative reviews, like truly like
Really?
reviews that I, reviews that I honestly think I like it made me kind of like afraid, not afraid, but it made me like have a certain preconception before going into the movie because it was like, oh my God, it's gonna be really cringy and like it's about stuff that like is kind of um like seemingly like it just had vibes based on the reviews I saw of like that like Elon Musk like high IQ of era where like human like I don't even know. But like it essentially like I let's just say that I saw some reviews and things that made me a little nervous, but then I
Hello?
watched it. I gave like I do with every movie, an earnest chance. And I have to say I liked it. I was kind of split on it. Like especially at the end. Like I felt kind of like
Oh,
I felt kind of sorry, that was my phone. I felt kind of how do you say like I was like conflicted because conflicted about how I feel about it because like I liked parts of it, but then there were other parts where I just felt like it was just it could have been going in a more interesting direction. Um, basically, um, Lucy, for those who don't know, is a Scarlett Johansson movie from the 2010s about a woman who gets caught up in a drug situation from her like boyfriend or something, and it's very like dangerous and like they're like basically like trying to kill her. I thought the thing is we were gonna record this podcast like 2 3 weeks ago. So like it's been a minute since I've seen it. Yeah, but basically, long story short, she um she like eats the drugs or something. I don't really. It was kind of confusing, like why like she wanted to get leverage over them. Oh shit. Oh wait. There was my co-host just got booted out. Hold on. Um wait. Come back. LOL, we're literally recording. I don't know if I'm gonna edit this out. I might edit this out. Oh, you're back.
hello?
Yeah, sorry, you just like got glitched out for a second. I don't know what happened there.
Hello?
Hello, can you not hear me? Can you not can you not hear me? We're literally on the podcast. What the hell? I can hear you. Can you not hear me? Wait, hold on. Can you hear me now? I love technical difficulties. So fun. So much fun. Yeah, I can't hear you. Are you still there?
No, I can't hear you.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Hold on. Well, let's try this again. What about now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry
What
everyone
happened? I was hearing
listening.
you fine.
Sorry everyone listening at home. Technical difficulties are a bitch. I actually don't know. Plugged in my podcast mic. That might have messed something up. The audio was better when I did it though. So wait, I'm gonna plug in my podcast mic. Tell me if it like messes with anything. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank God. Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying about Lucy. Yeah, basically, um, like she eats the drugs. I don't really know why. I think she was just like trying to like get leverage or something because they wanted to like kill her. It was kind of confusing because it was like they're like Chinese and she's in China, and it was just or Taipei. I think she was in Taipei, which I think is in China. I I don't I don't remember. But basically, she eats the drugs and they like unlock. And there's like this subplot where like this professor is like talking about it's like Morgan Freeman and he's very like I am God, Morgan Freeman. And he's like really narrating this like lecture, but it seems kind of like it's just exposition. But like he's just like talking about how like human beings only have a certain like very small separation from apes in terms of their intelligence, but human beings are only using like 10% of their overall brain power,
That
which
part.
which I was super confused by, but it was interesting. It was interesting concept, and like
What do you feel like was confusing you?
I was just confused about like how they were gonna tie that in. But then it pretty quickly was like the drugs, like it pretty quickly like followed through. I was just like, yeah, because then the drugs apparently like make her unlock this potential, which is a said to be like her full brain power, which is how she gets like superpowers and is like psychic and can like wasn't she like also had like telekinesis or something, right?
Yep, she was literally everything.
She
She was
had
able to connect with everything.
every ability that could be had basically. I don't know what those drugs were. I I guess I was confused because like it just wasn't explained very well. Like I guess some superhero origin stories are just not explained. I don't even think this was trying to be like a superhero like franchise or if Lucy was based on like an actual superhero or it was just like a sci-fi just movie without any of that. But
I think that the level of government, like under the table black market drugs, it like lend itself to like the secrets of the government and how they know these things and they know our mental capacities, but it's all dealt with under the table. And someone who was
yeah,
like just on the sidelines and got in there accidentally, like I forget to like why she ended up ingesting them, because I think it was like way too much that they had even given to one person. But it was like,
because she wasn't supposed to like transport all of it. It was a large amount. But she ate
right.
like literally all of it. It would be like if someone ate 2 like kilos of crack just all at once, or like snorted it all at once. I suppose. Yeah. So that's basically the other stuff happens. Like she's like in basically a fight with these drug dealers, and then I kind of don't remember what happens in the end because again, it was like a few weeks ago. But um, I
It's
mean, it's
because it's so overwhelming.
I
But
was gonna
then
say because it's
at
like
the end, she becomes everything.
yeah,
All of the
it's not
energy
really.
around
Yeah,
her.
exactly. It's like the movie. It's kind of hard to explain like as a regular movie because it's more spiritual and like cerebral. It's like very like intellectual, and there's a lot of like
It's
imagery.
definitely surreal.
There's a lot of imagery about like space and time and humanity and like um apes and like invoking like evolution. To be honest, I thought a lot of it was kind of pretentious. I thought it was interesting. I just honestly thought like it could have been a little like if they wanted to lean into the spirituality side, I don't know. They needed to like do some I don't know. They
I feel like it's more of like the spirituality is more of like what I glean from it, because I think in essence it's about like the secrets that are kept, and the main secret being what you were talking about with Morgan Freeman and what he was saying within it, because she's able to now, like, I can't forget the scene where she gets in contact with him and she's able to be like, "Hey, so this is the fact. I've read all of your papers like 2 seconds ago. I know you know the facts because you're a scientist and you've been working on this for years. So like, I'm about to get you in on this shit." And it's just so crazy. I love stories that like all happen in like one day. And I
Yeah,
think she
those are
ingested the
fun.
drugs and, like, died within the span of, like, 2 days.
You
Like,
know,
that's crazy.
I have a I have a question. I know this movie, like, is obviously fictional, but do you think there's any truth to it? Do you think that? Because I think that theory, well, first of all, IQ,
Definitely.
because what lost me is, like, a lot of movies that, like, lean too heavily on IQ and, like, intelligence as, like, something that it just isn't, because IQ is not real. It's like a racist thing. Like, people don't know this, but,
The
like,
thing about IQ is that it's, like, measurable, right? It's a way for us as humans to measure other humans' capacity.
I
But
know,
the
I'm
thing
saying, like,
about
the
what she's
origin of it,
experiencing,
like, in the
I don't think it
yeah.
has anything to do with IQ. Like,
I
I think
well,
it just has to do with her brain power and her being able to like actually embody someone who is like ultra powerful because she's tapped into certain parts of
I
her
don't know.
brain.
I, like,
But you
personally
can't
think,
measure
like,
that.
because they were saying that her IQ is, like, off the charts or whatever, they were trying to tie that into it. I personally think that, like, IQ it is, like, I don't believe it's a good or valid metric for measuring intelligence, because it's a very
Yeah.
particular type of intelligence, and also it is, like, okay, you could say, like, everything has a racist origin, which, like, is kind of true, but some things have a racist origin that, like, then when, like, they just become standardized and they become, like normalized, people don't even think about how the racism is, like, impacting how it's being, like, used today. Um, and it because, like, I think some of the origin of it is, like, from, like, eugenics, like the bell curve and, like, all this stuff. And but like specifically they were doing, like, literacy tests on people and, like, I don't know, like, Jim Crow and, like, post Reconstruction, and they were um like, trying to basically give black people, like, literacy tests that were, like, pranks, essentially, like, you couldn't get them right, where they would, like, spell words really wrong and then say those were real word, like, weird shit like that, just to try and mess with black people, basically make them feel stupid. And then they would use those, like, scores to, like, determine if they were, like, I don't know, eligible to breed, just, like, really weird stuff. And, like, I know that IQ isn't used for that today, and it, like, is kind of even fading out of, like, significance in some circles, but in a lot of circles, it still very much matters. And I don't know. I just think it's important when you watch movies to know, like, the context of the things in the movie in, like, the real world, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but the movie
Yeah. And I
itself,
think
like,
that
I'm just really curious what spirituality you found in it, because I thought it was interesting and, like, it opened a lot of questions for me. But I'm gonna be real, the movie
yeah.
itself was, like, a little pretentious. I felt like didn't really meet its potential.
I can see that standpoint, and that's okay. I think that like the effectiveness of the movie was less like life changing for me than like what certain scenes were able to give me visuals about. Like the
Yeah.
visual where she's talking about like the speed of light, and when Morgan Freeman is talking about how um our capacity as humans and our perception of things.
Yeah, it did
That's what
give me a
really
lot to think
changed.
about, I will be real.
Yeah.
Specifically about, like, all
Because
of the yeah.
with my personal religion, it's based off of the fact that I am able to tap into these energies that are all around me because I am a part of them, because I am one with
Yeah.
them and with the God inside of me and that oneness.
Yeah.
And she experienced that oneness as she quote unquote died and became all of the technology like around her. She's reached her great she's been what the biblical texts call enlightened, and I feel like they really give a visual to that within this movie because they're also tying it to something scientific, which I admire because I love neuroscience. and the basis of neuroscience, and understanding that we are not taught to use our brains, especially now, oh my God, in the age of AI and social media and how Gen Alpha is just going about right now. Like,
Yeah,
we're
it's
definitely not taught
that's
to
true.
use it's a
We're
government
taught to
secret, like
be
the way our
passive.
brains.
We're taught to be passive
There's so much. The Gateway
and
Project, all of these CIA documents that are
like
being
even if
released,
we're like
showing us that we
intelligent,
have not reached our power.
like even if we're like intelligent and like whatever, like that is such interesting. That is one of the things about the movie that actually did stick with me. The thing about like the government and like society trying to keep you from the potential within your own mind and your own soul, and like keeping you from
Exactly.
knowing yourself and knowing your potential, that really was super real. And like I feel like it had a bunch of metaphors that it could be even like read as like someone, for example, like if someone is like I honestly read it a lot as like someone who's like was like realized that they were like neurodivergent, and then like stopped masking, and then realized all of the skills and like their new way of seeing the world, and like their true power in being different and being unique, and like how they use that to their advantage. Like that, I always love stories like that, because honestly a lot of neurodivergent people and like mentally ill people, we're not taught that our brains are like different and we have like different strengths and weaknesses, because like that is what we should be teaching people. We're taught that like some people just have like damaged, sick brains, and they need to like repress everything about who they are, and like just take a lot of medication, just not be any of the parts of them that are connected to the quote unquote illness or whatever. Instead of saying like everyone has struggles, there are parts of there are good and bad to everything. Like there are parts of mental illness that are very painful, and there are parts that are neutral or actually like a advantage if you know how to like if you know how to tap into that
Yeah, exactly.
and
And not
embrace
like
it.
people need to learn to face themselves and not shame themselves, but we're taught to shame ourselves because of this
Yeah,
individualist society. And it's hard to accept one another and ourselves when we're looking inward and we're just hating what we're seeing. You
I
have
hope.
to actively like work against that.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And like I hope that like one day the universe can get to a point in like development of like society where like we're just at a point of consciousness where like um all of the damage, the psychic damage that was done to like generations of people, like in the post-colonial era, like from the Enlightenment, like the actual Enlightenment, like in the during the French Revolution, when they decided, like as they were colonizing the world for profit, and they were getting rid of kings and bringing in capitalism. I'm very much simplifying a lot of history, but basically a lot of these white men, these powerful, educated white men, decided over time that a true human, a true man, well, which they basically codified the archetypical human that every other human would be judged
And we
against.
just have to follow.
And
Exactly.
like
And
every
it's
like
like
it was
we
like
have
the age of reason.
ancestral
Yeah.
there's we have things beyond that, like we have histories before that that we haven't
Yes.
even tapped into, and it's linked to
Yes.
lineages and families, but it's lost on a
And like
grander
recently
scheme.
I've been doing a lot of research for school and also for my own um activism for like Mad Pride and everything, like things other things I do. Like I was literally doing a lot of research into the indigenous practices around
Mm.
mental health, and like how they
Hmm.
viewed people who were like quote unquote different. And it's so fascinating. It honestly made me kind of sad because we just like they honestly, like most things, they were just doing it better, um or just with a more eye to like humaneness and humanity and like
Oh,
connection to
absolutely.
like what really matters.
Holistically.
Yeah, like what really
Everything
matters.
back then was holistic.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
basically like a lot of tribes in like the Americas and all over the world, they all had different approaches, but a lot of them would view people, especially people with like schizophrenia or who like saw visions, as more spiritual because their entire like they were animists, so a lot of Native American cultures were believed basically in the same thing that is like Shintoism, where it's like like pantheism, where it's like everything is God, like nature is God, like you are God, everything is God, and they would like have shamans to like go to the spirit realm and like take these like incense and like almost like early psychedelics.
I would love to work with a shaman. And
And
see, I believe in that.
I
Like,
did actually
I really do.
when I was living in Idaho, I went to a sweat lodge, which is a
Oh, no
thing
way.
that like if you know people who are Native American, they will maybe invite you like on a reservation to a sweat lodge. It's a very spiritual cultural event. I was very honored to be a part of it. It's really difficult because like you literally have to stay in there as long as you personally can, and it gets so hot. You're in like a furnace because there's an actual
Mm,
fire, and it's like this like hut, and you're with like a bunch of other people, and he's just like saying these things, and you see visions. Like I swear to God, I saw spirits in there because like they break down your like
mm,
inhibitions. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, they break the veil.
And I was in there for hours because it was so like transformative. Also, I was really being like human trafficked when I was in Idaho. Like it was a dark time for me. So just the fact that that experience was just in such a dark time was so powerful, because it really gave me a lot of like just gave me a lot of hope and just like higher planes. So I wouldn't be so dragged down to in the darkness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and when you're in that darkness, you like can look inward so much more easily because the outward is so dark that you're just like, I'm okay with facing whatever.
Yeah. Um, so I guess what I'd say about Lucy, because I also would say like, um, yeah, a lot of tribes like they had roles for people who were like they like because now in society like there's no like role, there's no like higher important station for someone who is like schizophrenic or is has like any mental illness really like you're just supposed to like overcome it. You're supposed to like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, repress it, and still achieve great things. Like it's very compelling to note that like a lot of movies, in fact I'd say most movies over the past until really recently, about definitely throughout like the 90s and the 2010s, most movies about characters with mental illness or who are disabled either were like, oh, you're supposed to pity them. And not all. I've seen some that are not like this, but like most were like, oh, you're supposed to pity them, or it's all about the caretaker, it's all about their mother or their friend, and not about them at all. Or they're like, so impressive. They're a genius. They're an Olympic athlete. They're so impressive that you can't really blame. Like they overcame their mental illness. They achieved in spite of that. Things most people could never achieve. So it's sort of like in capitalism, in that like um individualistic
Like
competition.
they've reached it. They've hit the American
So they
dream.
deserve sympathy. While someone who is disabled and cannot do that may imply that maybe they don't. And that was what's fucked up. In movies
But
like
that's going off of the fact that like we don't understand that it's okay to just exist. Like we're here to create our own realities, but not in this push, 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 grind, grind, grind way that we've been ingrained based off of slavery and the way that America has been based off of, and these global entities about like arguing and fighting over power when it's not supposed to be power. It's supposed to be oneness, and we're supposed to understand that it's okay to just be as we are at this given moment
and
in
the thing is
time and
I
not feel so pressured.
I I have come to accept conflict and discourse because you can't have the light without the dark. I think that's a problem that a lot of like people who like strive towards utopia and write about anarchism and are very invested in trying to make and visualize a better world and imagine a better world, which very few people do. It's very important work though. Um, but like really map out like knowing like for how human beings are rather than how they ought to be, because the truth is conflict is normal. It's just like
Right.
people just don't know how to deal with it within a context of loving life and being like valued. And like once you are in a community that is like, you're like 'cause everyone is so atomized and alienated and like but like they don't have if there's a conflict it's life or death like because people nowadays have so little to lose that they
Mhm.
find themselves unable to give to charity. They can't afford it. They find themselves unable to um feel like they can give anything because they're getting nothing. And like they find themselves basically feeling so deprived of like love and connection and purpose and pleasure and everything that they deserve even when they seek it out in life. Like you need money for so much of that. You don't need money for to be happy and live a good life, but you do need money for tangibly a lot of like fun things that like people want to do. Like
Oh,
if you have
absolutely. I'm
friends
learning
who are
that
like
lesson.
yeah, I mean this is literally my life right now. Yeah. It's like you have friends who can't afford
Literally.
something, then you can't go to with them. Like you have friends who like and there's ways around this, but it is like a real big barrier for a lot of people. And I will say, um, like I just think that like a key thing in like doing kind of what Lucy did, but like on your own terms, like realizing your true potential is unlearning a lot of the capitalist brainwashing that everything you have to be doing has to serve a purpose. Sometimes you can just do pointless shit because you want to. And there is just this guilt
Right.
in all of us that if we do anything for ourselves or we pursue anything that like other people don't believe we can do, like a lot of people don't think I could be a model. They're like, oh, you're kind of ugly, you're kind of fat. There are so many models now who are of all shapes and sizes. Like that is just an outdated thing. Um,
It's about being limitless, and I really believe in that, and I think that
yeah.
Lucy just gives me the visuals
I
for
think
it because I believe in that limitlessness.
we have to relearn what we were taught as kids is that we are capable of whatever we set our mind to. And we are
We can have, be,
capable
and do anything on this planet that we
anything.
want.
And I think that like, you know, yeah, and I think that like kind of learning how to tune out that peer pressure from like your parents and your friends about like what you should be doing and learning how to build up a strong voice and a strong core. And like later I'm gonna talk about my personal religion, which is like a strong a strong moral code that you've created, not influenced by society, what they think is right and wrong, what you think is right and wrong, and living by that. And into a strong code of living intentionally and what things to seek out in like life rather than like waiting for life to give you things that will fulfill you, but rather seeking them out in specific ways. But I think in order to do what
Yeah.
Lucy did, it starts with unlearning a lot of like generational trauma and a lot of like brainwashing about the type of person you are and how those types of people can't do this and that, about to fear your own potential, to fear your own ambition, to fear your own power. Because I think seeking ambition and being ambitious and even seeking power to a certain degree doesn't necessarily have to be evil. It is actually
No,
necessary.
not at
It's
all.
necessary. It's if you're doing it at the expense of other people and to dominate them is what most people do. And that's why but wanting power with for yourself, wanting to be on a higher plane, wanting more power, more access so you can do better in the world, like that is a incredible thing that and like
'Cause
that
that's just your
ambition.
higher self. That's your higher
Yeah,
self communicating with
that
you. And
ambition,
I
that
think that there are
drive,
legitimate tools for like redoing that reprogramming and using that self belief to fuel your ambitions.
and
And I think
taking
that that
back
starts
like
with that self
power.
talk.
I think like taking back
Yes,
power
embodying
from
it.
capitalism and from other people, like don't have friends who make you feel helpless, like really like cut off people or just like ascend beyond people who are like dragging you down. A lot of people just have friends and they don't even consider like, oh, this person is like they're like dragging me down for my true potential. They're not making my life any better. It really is cut and dry. If someone is objectively like a drain and they have not nearly enough good qualities for you to maybe overlook that, um, you should not be friends with them. Like if someone is jealous of you and they're insecure and they're trying to like bring you down and they're like in a lifestyle that is like about complacency and self-hatred, like they're like a drug addict and they don't want to get clean, or they're like trying to get you into like crime or like just depression or whatever, like like I think part of realizing your full potential is realizing you deserve people who will uplift you. And not everyone can do that on every single day.
Absolutely.
But like you deserve people who like baseline are good to you and loyal and like respect your time and want to spend time with you and want to do it often and want to give you
It's
gifts
about the
and
sharing of the energy, and as much as people don't want to admit it, like energy is always transactional, and that's
it is.
okay.
It
Because once you
is.
know yourself and you're fulfilled and you're whole within yourself, all you're bringing is that overfilled cup with you to
Frankly,
anybody else's
once you're
energy.
fulfilled, at least most of the time, like sometimes like you have to go easy on yourself because like this process because we all have a lot of brainwashing, this process can take a long time, but it is so important.
It's about
Like
self-compassion and
it,
that inner
it's about
voice.
self creation because like you are god of yourself. Like no one, like you are a work
Mhm.
of art, and I believe in dandyism and like the idea that like your life is a work of art and
Oh,
you are
me
a work of art,
too. I love, yes, go
and you should
on, like
approach yourself
romanticization.
as an artist and like as you would any other great work of art. You have themes and you have like imagery and symbolism and things that like
And live as an artist, like live
are
the life
are
of it. I
beautiful
went to the
for
MoMA
their own
and
sake.
like people, like artists they have a way of living and it can be
Yes.
studied and it can be mimicked and it's not something that's this hard feat. It's something that you can have compassion for yourself and also like be inspired by people who live a certain way. Being an artist doesn't mean that, oh, you can draw this or you're this creative. Like people think that they're
Anything
not
you
artists
love, I
when they
truly
are.
believe anything you love, that's your medium, that's your art. If you collect trains
Exactly.
and make little trains, you may not think of that as art, but it is. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And even people who are just keeping the world together, like it's all a language. And I think that a
Yeah,
language is art.
I
And my
believe art
studies
is
are
the
about learning the
shared
languages, things that I love.
Yeah, I believe art is the shared language of humanity, and it's the language we all speak.
Yeah.
And it is a language that anyone can be fluent in if they give themselves into the collective, if they wake up to the fact that we are all a constellation, we are all an organism, we are all connected inherently to each other, to the earth, even though society increasingly tries to like convince us otherwise. And like like you really should um it's really a mindset. Like think of your own life as you would like you're drawing something, you have an image in your head of what you want to draw. You have some references, you have some markers, you have some paint, you have whatever. So you get a pencil or a pen and you draw it. And then as you're drawing it, you're thinking about like where should things go, what like details do I want to have. That's how you should think about life. Like it changes as it goes. It doesn't have to be one thing. Whatever is the
Yeah.
vision like that you believe is the best and the most beautiful and the most true, like it will come to you. It will like emerge like um
Because it's
as
all
you discover
magnetic.
it.
It's all
As
magnetism.
you discover it and as you put yourself as you become more of your true self. Because notice how in the movie Lucy, the more she became her true self and like her superpowers and was like feeling more like awakened, the more she,
Yeah.
the more like her true power was actually able to be actualized, and the more that the universe kind of like responded
Because it
to
was
that.
the more the drugs kicked into her brain.
Yeah.
You're
Don't do
seeing
drugs,
into
kids.
everything.
Don't do drugs. This movie is not about drugs. Although you know what's interesting? Last thing, and then we're gonna talk about my movie. Um,
Yeah.
I think that because I really want to know what you thought of Sideways, like so bad. The last thing I was gonna say though is that whatchamacallit, um, whatchamacallit, oh yeah, this movie, honestly, a lot of people said it was like supposed to be like a psychedelic experience, even though it's a lot more like cerebral and intellectual than that. Honestly, I think this movie reminded me of both 2001: A Space Odyssey and a movie called Creation, which is a biopic about Charles Darwin. Um, I think those are two like
Oh, I want to see that.
closest like in terms of the visuals, because I wouldn't recommend this movie 100%, but I would recommend it for the visuals. Truly beautiful and thought provoking. and really evoking that like 60s like intellectual psychedelic movies like 2001 and everything. I actually do think that like if you were on psychedelics, this movie would be crazy. But also,
Yeah.
like, I truly have thought my whole life, like, should I do psychedelics? Because I've heard people say, like, if you have certain mental illnesses, like specific ones, like microdosing, not necessarily doing like full acid, but like
Oh yeah, that's my
microdosing.
experience with shrooms.
Yeah, like
Cause it really
microdosing
it
shrooms.
reprograms the neurons.
Microdosing
It
shrooms can
cleans you
really like
out.
help you be more at peace with yourself and your nervous system and your way of working. And it will open up a whole new pathway that like justifies and like makes you feel like
Literally
you're
new
part of
neural
something.
pathways because when
I've
you're
I've
so
heard of
stuck
that.
in
I've heard of
trauma,
that.
that's the only thing your brain learns. You could look it up and do research because it's actual, like Google always has that disclaimer or
Is
whatever,
that why you're
but it
so
is
woo
the
woo
scientific
chill?
fact.
Is that why you're so woo woo chill? Because you've done shrooms.
I mean, maybe I have my own sense of like my experience with it has always been I've always felt more human, and I was always reminded of like why I'm alive, and I came out of it I felt like a new version of myself, like I could do this and I could do that, and I would love to like affirm and like look at myself in the mirror
I've
and
seen
really like
people.
dig deep into myself.
I've seen people microdose shrooms, and they it's all very interesting because they really do seem different. You know what I mean? Like it's even YouTubers and
Yeah.
people I watch, so I know at least how they act on camera. But then they do like I saw this one YouTuber who microdosed shrooms, psilocybin, for a month, and he upped the dose every week, and you could really see his personality change. Like he seemed more loose, and he was like laughing more,
Wow,
and his
I love
eyes were
that.
wider, and he was like making different jokes. Like it was really fascinating.
I would love to do an ayahuasca ceremony after I do my yoga
I'm always
certification.
worried about drugs, though. Like I've always wanted to be the. I was a stoner for a minute. I still do weed sometimes. Although now, this is the thing. You have, as an artist, you have to contort your life around capitalism. You always have to be making compromises because I was like gonna do weed
You
next
mean right
week.
now not buying anything
No,
because
I'm
I'm broke?
not. I gotta take a drug test in like a week. I'm not doing that.
Oh,
Well,
facts.
because I might get a job, and they said if I get the job, I'll have to take a drug test. So yeah. So
Yeah,
that
your
is the
life
thing. You
is
always have to
you.
be compromising yourself and
So
your
let's talk about
desires.
Sideways
Yes. Oh my
because
God.
this movie was like a dream come true. Okay, so one thing about me, I wanted to study a lot of things. I wanted to study graphic design. I wanted to go to FIT. I also wanted to go to Columbia, the school for tourism and hospitality, because I wanted to study all the languages. I am a language major currently, but I'm changing that to applied arts and business. Okay, I'm not going to tell you my whole school story. I literally wanted to do everything under the sun. But one of those things was like working with people in tourist destinations, learning the languages of places, and just being of service to people in whatever ways in which that looks. And so working with wine, I also love drink making. I love bartending, all of
I didn't
that.
even know that before I recommended.
Working
Wow. Okay. I had a feeling. I was
yeah, I
psychically.
just dropped a lot. But like I love scents as well. Like I love perfumes and I love matching certain scents and notes. And that's a part of like why I want to make a drink making business and be a barista and build certain types of drinks because I love that sort of food chemistry. And so when I was learning about wine, like just a little like nerdy like rabbit hole research that I was doing, I would be obsessed. Even this is like before I'm 21, right? So I can't even really drink it. But when I am rich, my number one hobby is going to be buying like amazing bottles of wine from all over the world and drinking them with my friends and experiencing them because a good bottle of red wine, I just know, and I've been obsessed with Scandal. So like that's
Oh
just
my
the life that I want.
goodness.
So when I was watching this, and mind you guys, the audience listening, like we didn't give each other anything to go off of when we gave each other these movies. So I had no idea what this was other than the fact that it was a comedy and it was going to be about life.
Yeah.
And so watching this movie, it's basically these two guys and they are artists. Like they are, it's a little bit in the era of like 40-year-old virgin or like mainly like just like midlife crisis vibes. And I appreciate those kinds of movies so much because I feel like my everyday is like the feeling of a midlife crisis. Like, what the fuck is going on and how do I deal with this? um, so much is changing, but I always connected to those movies just because I always felt more mature. But what they're dealing with within this, like his best friend is just this uh charming and can do no wrong sort of guy who always needs his best friend to save him and be like the adult in the situation, but they're also like bad at like both being adults at the same time. Like his friend will make a bad decision, and there was a scene that was sort of so like heart, like it pulled on my heartstrings because it was really him, someone making just a terrible decision and his friend just having his back like no matter what, and being angry at him and being like, why did you do this, like I told you not to do this, and now we're gonna have to do this, and you're so dumb because now we have to go back, and and he's just like, dude, I need you, please do not walk away from me. And he's like, no, you asshole, I'm not gonna walk away from you, but why would you do this? Da, 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 da. And it's just so beautiful because I've always wanted a connection, a friendship, energetic exchange where it's just un like it's unlimited, it's unconditioned, and you know that's so hard to find. We were talking about cutting friends off earlier. It's just so hard to find that. And there's this beautiful scene. It reminded me of Under the Tuscan Sun. It's one of my grandmother's favorite movies, and it's honestly another one just about a midlife crisis and life transitions. And you know, people fall in love and people fall out in love, and I can accept that, but what I can accept is just how conditioned certain things can be. Like, especially when you condition how someone acts. People are people, and you have to accept them just as you accept yourself. I always think if God is perfection and I am God, that means I am perfection as I am. And that reminded me of this scene. He's able to see the perfection in his friend, in his imperfectness, in his mistakes, in his hardships. And I think that that's so loving. I think that's why friendships can also be very romantic, platonically romantic, because you see their perfection as godly beings, but the mistake within the mistakes that they make and their shortcomings and what's wrong with them. You know, there's something wrong with everyone. That's why we're like this. That's why we're humans. And so when I was watching this movie in this slowly paced, very humorous thing. There's moments where they're like trying to get it together and keep it tight. And then there's other moments where they're just like letting it all go and letting it loose and saying fuck it. I remember this one scene where he's trying to get a drink at the bar. He's trying to get a drink of wine. And the guy keeps pouring small like little like sips. And he's like, can
Yeah.
I just get a full glass, please? And he's freaking out, and he ends up spilling the wine on himself, and I just laughed so hard, and I loved it because I'm here for the unhinging. Like, I'm so here for the
I was kind of
unhinging.
unhinged today. I yelled at that guy at the hair salon. I was like, "Fuck you mean you can't do it? Why'd you make the appointment then? You made me come all the way out here."
I'm here for it. And you know what? Like, we should treat everyone with kindness. And I know that if I'm someone on the street and I'm seeing someone unhinged and like, I know not to take it personally. I know that it's like we're all a oneness. We're all connected. You're
That's why I
probably
can't
dealing
stand
with something
people
and you
who
need
will
to be
like
heard.
call the cops on their friend who is like suicidal instead of trying to be there for them, or trying to like call the cops or like be just weird about people like who are homeless or who are like mentally ill, just like out and about. Like,
Yeah.
mind your business. Like, I don't understand because
Imagine not having a home. I will sleep. I will be in my bed sometimes and I'll just think about homeless people and thinking like, imagine just having no place like to be on your way to. No place to rest your head, to know that once you make it
yeah.
there, it can all end until the
This
next
is
day.
why me
Like,
and
I don't
Mango,
understand what
well,
that can
mostly
do to you.
Mango. This is why our mutual friend is a badass because she's running a charity that helps people who are homeless, specifically helps them find and hooks them up with like shelters in food banks and places to shower like in their area, because a lot of homeless people, there are resources for them, but a lot of them don't know where they are, or whatever. A lot of them don't even know how to access them. So it's really important work
Yeah.
she's doing. Just want to give her a little shout out. Love you, Mango. She's in Mexico right now. She's on a cruise. I'm jealous. Anyway,
So tell me, I told you my feelings about the movie.
oh,
Why did you choose this for me?
I'm so glad you liked it. Yeah, I because I love this movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. I wanted to choose something. I wanted to start off something, uh, a little more heartfelt, maybe a little bittersweet, but like something mature. I took a gamble because I thought you would like it because of just like the ambiance and like the characters. Like I wasn't sure
Definitely.
exactly like what movies you liked, but like I think I nailed it because it seems like you are really into these types of movies. Um,
You
I
definitely
also
did.
chose it because for me, it was always a very like hopeful movie for me because I watched it at a time when I was like really not doing so well, but also I just was really like unmotivated. Like I was having a really hard time seeing like a future for myself, like seeing like myself grow old, like seeing like myself having made any progress with my career or my goals like in the future. Like I had big dreams. I was really trying to overcompensate for my trauma by like being good at everything. But also I like really did really want to like do something that was hard for me. So like I spent 5 years writing a novel. It was very difficult because I started when I was still basically being trafficked, so I didn't really have access to my computer. But I still started it and then it took me a long time to write it because I really was just really passionate about it. I was like, this is the kind of message I want kids like me to be able to get. Like, I feel passionate about this book. Like, I honestly think that it would like make a difference. But like the publishing industry is really fucked up, and like I didn't really get. I applied, like I tried to get an agent for like I queried, I figured out how to do it. I taught myself. I did all of this by myself. No one helped me. I sought out workshops, I whatever, but like I was pretty much learning everything just on my own. And it was very humbling. And people telling me like my uncle telling me like you should take a break from writing and pursue art. I kind of was defensive, but he ended up being right because art is now getting some buzz. It's getting in some galleries, and so he was right. But I realized I didn't have to choose writing or art. Like I do both. They always have gone together. So like I just do both now, and like
Yeah, do it all. The life of an artist.
I
Everything
was
is
just like
intersection.
in this phase where like I was very committed because people had told me my whole life like you give up too easily, you quit too easily, but I'm like no, like I'm gonna do this and it's gonna keep me alive and it's gonna keep me having the will to live because I can't die before I finish this book. And I basically I as they said Hamilton, I wrote my way out or whatever. It was very difficult, but like then it got easier. I was in college, I was writing it. It was difficult the motivation because like the motivation to write a full novel that you had been planning and outlining for years, like to really just write it and write it well and take feedback from
That's
workshops
where I'm
and
at right now.
it's very difficult to get to the finish line because years went
The
on and it just wasn't
motivation.
finishing it.
Talk more about that because like, first of all, not you quoting Hamilton because that's like the basis with which I like Nonstop is a song that I go back to like almost every day.
Hamilton
Just
changed a
on being
generation.
nonstop.
I love
Huh?
Hamilton. We could do a whole episode about Hamilton because I have a lot to say about
We
Hamilton.
should.
I was
We
so
definitely can because I'm that bitch. I would listen to the soundtrack like to and from school, back and forth 2 hours. Same. Oh my god, we should have a karaoke day. Hamilton karaoke. Yes, we're doing that. But yeah, can you talk about your like motivation because I'm going through this stage now where it's like I'm trying to teach myself like why it's always been a thing of teaching myself how to live life and then it's been like why is it worth living and then I'm learning that, the answer to that, but then it's like okay, how do I live it? And what am I doing? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, and I just want to say one thing about that. Like when people see you, you have to really, when you're in this stage of like being compassionate with yourself and going within yourself, you have to listen to what they said. Because I've been going back to what people have said about me, and it's starting to ring true. You find your patterns, and like people see what you can't see through the trauma lens. Exactly, claim it. Oh, I don't remember. It was something cheeky. I did me of Tick Tick Boom because it is that journey of an artist. Yeah, that journey of an artist of you just have to keep going. That nonstop keep going. Yeah, and Rent, like the musical Rent and Jonathan Larson's story, him as an artist is just someone that I aspire when I think of like legacy. And we talk about Hamilton and what legacy means because like if I'm gonna live this life, like it doesn't have to be that I reap all of the rewards while I'm alive. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm okay with that. You know, obviously I want to, but at the end of the day, I just want to affect and impact the planet and have my name mean something. And that's what Jonathan Larson did, and he died before he even saw it. Yeah. It's definitely not, and for me, and I talk to this a lot with my friends, it's like there's just no other option. Like there's just no other way for me to be living rather than living the way that I crave so deeply because it's all painful. Like that's just my understanding right now. I hope that over my lifetime I'll come to a more softened, whole, like loving understanding. Right now my hatred for the systems around us and like waking up in there every day and knowing that it's so against what's natural for us, that anger, I channel that into the fact that I'm doing the only thing I know is worth it. That's all I'm focused on. And if that means that I have to prioritize this and I have to spend time doing this and focus on this so that I'm not wasting my time focusing on something else that doesn't matter just as much to me, then that's what I'm gonna do. It's like I have no other option. And that's the only thing that's been motivating me, but it's barely working, so I have to listen to you. Yes. Me too. I love Reese. Yes. Definitely. That's where the reprogramming comes in. That's your opportunity to like change the narrative. That's what I do when I'm in these spaces and my body wants to shake, but I know that I deserve to be here because everyone around me is in the same boat. Like even being around in the modeling training, like everyone is just the same as you. Okay. Yes, because I was here for it. They were so cute. Yeah. Your highest values. Yeah. It is you because you're so loving naturally. I feel like that's very unique to people like you who have your characteristic of like being so open to people. Because I have the same thing where it's like, especially with friendships, not necessarily love, but it's like, should I let you win? Should I communicate? Because for me, it's about the communication and it's like, is this worth it? You know? But you want to like let everyone in. Hopeless romantic. Absolutely. I feel like I don't understand that. Like, how can you not, you know? I think that it was very much like always down on his luck, you know? I feel like he was a character that definitely like believed in luck and just having bad luck. Because I felt like he had a lot of self-belief. You know, he had some self-belief, but you could tell that it had dwindled and that it was covered over. And, you know, breaking that bond, like, that's such a huge thing. I think what, like, film made me overlook about relationships, and I was talking to my friends about this, is that nothing when you grow up, it's like, oh, you're either being abused or it's good. Like, it was either black or white for me, and learning that it's all gray. Yeah, that was my personal experience, and I really had to teach myself, like, exactly, and they don't understand that it's okay, and I had to understand, like, not to be so anxious when it came to conflict, and how to communicate, and all of that stuff. Mm. Songwriter. Mhm. I mean, if someone's gonna judge you for something, then that's pretty clear that, they don't align with you. Um, yeah. Yes, yeah. Letting go. And that's totally fair. We get to create our lives. Um, the thing about compatibility is I have like my own personal opinions. But I liked what they did, like how they did it within the movie because it's like, oh, she's out of his league and all of this stuff. But in real life, it's like none of this stuff matters. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that people don't believe in, yeah. And I think they're in love. Yeah. I don't think that's the right frame of mind. Yeah. Yeah. Just see yourself. Exactly. Yeah, so there's so many things to recount. I think that moving forward with our next episodes, you guys can look forward to us really going deep into detail. This first episode is very exciting, but it was like a little bit farther from when we first watched it. I think in further episodes, we'll really dig deep into all of the details of the scenes. And what it made us feel according to the topic, because so many great things came up in today's discussion, and it's been an amazing podcast. So thank you guys for listening if you've gotten up to this point. Thank you guys for listening.